Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics video on the channel. It is Wednesday and time for some more trade talk, but it's almost null and void in terms of the trade outs because a lot of people have got forced trades this week. We've got plenty of carnage right on the last week of Best 22 for a little bit because we've got buys starting next week. So really interesting week coming up. A lot of people have got hit with potentially, well, I'd be shocked if you got hit with 0 bullets, and if you did, tell me what the lotto numbers are going to be on the weekend because you've dodged all the bullets. But yeah, everyone's got McRae. A lot of people have got Horne-Francis. Some people got Finn Callahan. Some people still have Jaiden Short. And there's obviously benches are very thin. And there's also rumours of other people being sore and who knows what other carnage is awaiting us over the next few days. So we'll do trade talk in terms of what I think will happen at this moment in time, but it could still change a little bit. So we'll go through the most trade in and out players of the week, but we know who'll be dominating the out. So a lot of the ins are going to be forward focused, but if you've got some DPP, you might be able to make some other moves happen. So let's go through the most trade in players first, as we always do. And starting off at number 1 is Kitty Coleman. Kadeem Coleman made his return last week. 9.4k people are trading him in. He's the most traded in player of the week. Break even 43. And I am a fan of this one, and this is something that I'm heavily considering this week. So came out last week, scored 73, 19 touches, 6 marks, 68% time on ground. He's probably going to float between 65 and 75% time on ground for probably most of the remainder of the year. I think that's normally what he does anyway. He's not a high time on ground player, but obviously coming out from ACL, he's going to be have lower time on ground. So 73, first game back, he's got a break even. What did I say the break even was? Like 40 something, 43. I think he's a good option. 538k is so cheap, and I just think getting him in, if you can, is a potentially a good move. So I'm a big fan of him, and if you have got some bullets and you can get some DPP, people that listened to the pod last night know that I kept saying that all pod. If you can make that happen, I think that is a good move. Nick Martin, second most traded in player, 8.3k. So that seems to be the pretty common theme if you've got the two bullets, is you go one down, one up. And Nick Martin seems to be the popular forward of choice. 96 break even, scored a 105 last week considering that Essendon got smashed. I love this pick. I think he's probably my favourite premium target. And when we go through my top 5 targets of the week and then my trade plans, I'm mentioning him in terms of my top 5 targets because I'm really keen on jumping on him. He has Richmond twice, as you can see here. Obviously round 11 and round 18, which is great. Round 16 by defender forward status, high time on ground, isn't likely to get tags with merit being there. He just ticks a lot of boxes. He's $1 million, so he doesn't come that cheap, but I think he's either fairly priced or maybe slightly under. So I'm a big fan of getting Nick Martin in this week if you can make it happen. And you get the Richmond matchup as well first up. So if you want your player to bring in, get that sugar hit, I think that this could be the time to get Nick Martin. Chad Warner, third most trading player, 6.6k, jumping on him. So as you can see, a lot of these guys are forwards that people are bringing in there. So Chad Warner's next. I like this pick. I look at, obviously, through the buy and stuff, and not really many forwards with that round 14 buy that you'd have, and Chad Warner's one of them. So could really fit a lot of people's structures in terms of buys. Nice run to the buy, Melbourne, Adelaide and Richmond. Then he's got Port, which maybe the way they're going, not actually as tricky as what they have been in past, but it's still a harder matchup. But then Dogs, Freo, Saints, North, it's not too bad even after the bye. So I'm a fan of Chad Warner. If you can't get up to your Nick Martin, I think Warner is probably the next guy I'd look at as a forward there. So I don't mind getting Chad in. Number 4, Cooper Simpson, 5.7k, jumping on him. So I think a lot of people that have only got the one bullet, probably McRae, and don't have a Horne-Francis, this is where I'd be going next. I'd be going a red dot or a rookie that's losing cash, going to Cooper Simpson. 313k, minus 9 break even. Hasn't set the world on fire in terms of scores, 59.64, but has been getting some good raps, obviously, in the media, saying they've made a good call playing him in defence. He moved forward a little bit last week from what people were saying, so that's maybe the slightest flag, but minus 9 break even is the only player that's currently playing that's got a negative break even. Harry Boy, the other one, obviously not playing at the moment. But yeah, Simpson, big fan of him. He's the number 1 downgrade option if you can get him in. And if I only had one bullet, I would definitely be doing this move. But the fact I've got the double whammy, which a lot of us have got in Horne-Francis and McRae, is meaning I'm unable to get Simpson because it'd be relying on him on field, which again is not, if you're getting Simpson, it's not the end of the world, but I still think that I'd rather get some points on field. So he'll be someone I'll probably look at next week if he plays well again. Sinclair, 5th most traded player, 4.7k. So he's the choice of if you've got some DPP, people are going towards Sinclair, and I think it's very good reason. So 139, 953k, still a pretty good price. The only thing I'd say is that's his first ton since round 5, but we know for a fact that Sinclair does this most years. He starts the first half of the year pretty slow, has some tougher games. Like you look at Dogs have been tough to score against. Brisbane, Freo are sort of up and down, but that was his worst score in like 4 years. Carlton are a bit trickier. Port are tough. And then he obviously went big there, and he's got a decent run now. So like Gold Coast, Melbourne, then the bye, but then Dogs been trickier to score on, but under the roof will still be, I think, okay. Collingwood, Freo, bit trickier here, gets better. So that like this, I think I'm going to definitely be getting Sinclair by round 19 because this run to end the year bar the Giants game is disgusting. It's so good there, and I think Sinclair's still a very good option this week to get in now, and he would be, probably my top target. If you've already got a Nick Martin and you're looking at another position, I think Sinclair at value, good buy. I think that he is a really good replacement for one of those forwards if you've got the DPP. Jordan Dawson is at number 6, 2.6k jumping on him. He's the highest averaging midfielder and the only midfielder averaging over 110, which probably going a little bit on same with last year where not many mids were really averaging that high. I think it's probably got a lot to do with the tags as well. And we know that mids generally come home really strong in the second half of the year, but Dawson not in the first half. He's been very, very good. He hasn't had 2 bad games in a row. Obviously, every game he's had a poor one, he's gone big. So, obviously, he did it again last week, 138, which was a season high. He was fantastic. Surprisingly for Dawson, he's only had 2 games this year over 30 touches, which was in round 2 against Essendon where he went 134, and then round 4 against Gold Coast where he had 31 touches. Besides that, he hasn't had over 30 touches in any other game, which is always quite surprising because you just see Dawson get it so much. I just think West Coast this week it's a game that I could see Dawson go massive. And I know last year, I think he had like a 50-odd point first quarter and Duggan ended up tagging him after. We haven't really seen West Coast tag a whole bunch this year. They've used Hutchinson at times and maybe he could stand next to a Dawson, maybe a Hoff. Did Hoff do a job last week on someone? Potentially, I can't remember, but maybe like they might do a job on Dawson this week, but I still think Dawson's a great target. His run after that Sydney, Brisbane, Hawthorn isn't great, but then after his bye, it gets pretty good for that first month afterwards, and pretty much for the rest of the year. It's a pretty good run for the remainder of the year. So I think you're going to need Dawson at some point, and I think the sooner you get in, the better. So if you can make that happen this week and sort of go one down, one up, maybe go get Dawson and Coleman. If you've got like a Nick Martin, I certainly could tick that off. He's got a good buy as well. Round 15, don't have a huge amount of premium players in our teams currently that have got that buy. So I like Dawson as a target. Number 7, Matt Kennedy, 2.3k jumping on him. If you started him, fantastic pick. He has been fantastic so far. 5 tons in a row, averaging 99.7. And his time on ground's also taken up. He was sort of some games that were a bit lower, but last 4 games, all over 80%. 5 tons in a row, kicking goals as well, impacting the scoreboard, filling up all the stat lines. He's going to be someone we're going to need, I think, at some point remainder of the year. And I think you're probably paying a lot. And the fact that he's got the bye next week, I probably wouldn't go here. I would only go here if you have got no one on round 12 bye and you've already got Nick Martin and a Sinclair and you can't do DPP. So I'd probably wait till after his bye, and he is expensive, so maybe just wait for hopefully a poorer score and he comes down in price. But the way the Dogs are playing at the moment, the way Kenny's playing, I think he's definitely someone that we're going to want to have in our sides. And if you jump on him this week and you're good for the round 12, he is a pod. Not many people have got him. So if you want to be one of those coaches that have got Kennedy, then it might be able to work out. But I'm probably waiting personally. Shea Bolton, 2.2k, jumping on him. He is the 8th most traded player for the week. I don't mind it. I just worry with his floor. He scored a 22 3 weeks ago. That's my worry. And I'm just getting up that game here. So, yeah, against St Kilda, 7 disposals and 22. more often than not, he's been over 60, which I guess when you're looking at a premium is not what you want. He's had an uptick both in game time and in CBAs. So I think that this is a play where it could work. And he is 732, so he's pretty cheap. And if a rookie to him is what gets a rookie off field, I could tick it off. I guess I'm just wondering, I'm like, is he worth jumping onto or not? If he had a good run of fixtures, it would be fine, but he's got Port this week. I don't love the matchup. I think there are worse options. And if you're keen on it, by all means, jump on it. I think I'm just a bit cautious of him just with that really low floor. That makes me a little bit nervous. Isaac Rankin, I like him. He's the ninth most trading player, 1.8k jumping on him. So a lot of variety. Obviously, that I guess is a good thing. Shakes up the competition a bit. People are going in different directions, which is good to see. But yeah, Isaac Rankin, 939k, 106 break even. Been really consistent this year. Hasn't had a huge amount of tons, but he's had a few 90s there as well where he's got close. Hasn't had too many poor games. Even on the weekend, that 89 could have been a bit more. I think he missed 2 shots where they went out in the full. I think he might have got. I didn't get it behind at all. So 2 out in the fulls. If they're goals, he's scoring a ton there. So yeah, I like him. West Coast this week, great matchup. So yeah, Rankin, I'd prefer over Bolton. I'd prefer over a few guys. He's probably my second favourite forward behind Nick Martin to bring in this week. I'd probably go Martin, Rankin, then Warner if I had to rank them. But I like all three, and I think they're good options as well. And decent value. And Luke Jackson is number 10 for most trading players for the week. 1.8k jumping on him as well. I was talking to Jordy about this, obviously. We were chatting about him, Jackson, last night. If Darcy's not named this week and you've got Marshall or Cherry and Gawn, I actually don't mind this play as an aggressive play to then trade out. I don't normally love getting players to then bank in a trade within the next couple of weeks. But if you bring him in as a forward this week and you've got Gawn and then one of Cherry or Marshall, let's just say you've got Marshall and Gawn, right? You have Jackson this week. As this is only as long as Darcy's not playing. If Darcy's playing, I'm not even looking at this option. But if Darcy's not, you have Jackson this week in the forward line. Regardless if Darcy comes in next week, most people are going to have one of their rucks being a Cherry being out next week. So if you've got a Cherry, let's say, right, Jackson can cover Cherry next week in the rucks. And then the week after, Jackson's got his bye, but he's in the forward line. So you can trade him out to someone and you just covers that week, right? And that's if Darcy's back. But if Darcy doesn't come back, you can keep him and you can keep rolling with him, right? And if you've got a Marshall as your R2, then Jackson's in the forward line anyway. He can cover something if something happens. But then Jackson in can go. I was going to say go to Cherry, but you've already got Gawn and Marshall. This probably only works if you've got Cherry and Gawn. If you've got Marshall and Gawn, you're probably not going to be looking at doing this, right? But if you've got Cherry and Gawn, I was just chatting with Jordy, and I think this could be an aggressive play that you could do. And he covers Cherry in rounds 12. And then you can look at going to Marshall post his buy or something like that, or trading to Jackson to a forward. So yeah, probably I'd confuse half myself then going through that, but hopefully you guys get the point. I don't mind the Jackson play in some cases, but a lot of us are probably not going there just because of the Darcy sort of can come in at any point. But I don't hate the play for people that are going Jackson. Other players just outside, so Isaac Heaney, I like him as an option. Decent run coming up. Good score last week, 122. That could have been a 140, 150. 2 goals, 5 and 38 touches. 2 marks, 1 tackles. Probably you want to see a little bit more from that. But end of the day, good score. Under 900k. I think Heaney is a good option. Caleb Sarong, I like him as an option as well. If you think he can get close enough to 100 average. If you think he's just a 90, 95 guy and that ton last week was sort of little bit out of the box in a way, then I probably wouldn't be going this way because Sarong does get the tag a lot. He doesn't rack up the marks and tackles as much. So I prefer Heaney out of the two. I think if you're splitting him, I'd go Heaney, but I don't hate the Sarong play. Good, he's got a good buy, and at the end of the day, you can go after the buys and go to a better mid if you're looking to upgrade there. Archer Day Wicks is probably my next favourite rookie downgrade if you have already got a Cooper Simpson and you don't have another bullet. He's got Richmond this week. You could arguably loop him and see what he does. He's probably not going to score a huge amount, but round 16 buy is really helpful. so you can squeeze a little bit of money out of him before he has that bye, and then trade him in round 16 and hopefully cash in some cash there. So he's my second favourite rookie target of the week, and I'm probably looking at bringing him in next week because of that round 16 bye. So he's 256, 9 break even. I think with the 48 last week, if he can go like a 60 or something this week against Richmond, that can really kickstart a little bit of cash gen there, and I think he could be a decent target if he's in the team still. So that will just be the thing I'm waiting on to see if he stays in the side or not. Zach Merritt. Zach Merritt's very interesting. So he's priced just over $1 million, 152 break even, but he's got Richmond this week, and I think he could have a monster score against Richmond. If your team, again, is in a good... So he's 1K more expensive than Nick Martin. If you've already got Nick Martin, I actually really like the play of getting Zach Merritt in to get this matchup. If your team value is not great, maybe you don't go for this play because he's still probably going to drop a little bit of cash. But if you're up there in the ranks, you've got good team value, your team's going pretty well, I could actually see a play of getting Zach Merritt this week early as a good play. He could go massive. If he goes up 130, 140, he's not going down that much anyway. But the Richmond matchup is something I like. The only thing I don't love is the matchups after. So like, they've got a good run for the remainder of the year. They don't have, I don't think, too many hard games for the remainder of the season, right? But you look at this, right? So Richmond's great. Brisbane won't get tagged. I think he goes fine there. But then Carlton, is that a George Hewitt tag potentially? I think Chincotta's in the VFL. I think it was last week or he's coming back this week. Does he come back in? Does he do a tagging job? Because that worked against Merritt there. Mullen has gone to Butters and Dacos, and I think he'll go to Merritt here. And then a Wagner might go to him here. So he's got a few tags coming up before the bye, which I don't love. Really good bye, though. And then after Gold Coast, Richmond, maybe Bedford here, Brisbane, Sydney. Like, it's a decent run after the bye. And you could arguably go this week. It's just, I think there's some tags coming. But then again, we know Merritt's probably going to get tagged a lot more often than not. So, yeah, I think Merritt is definitely a play, particularly if you've got Nick Martin. I think I prefer Nick Martin, which sounds weird, me saying that over Zach Merritt, who's been a perennial 110 averaging midfielder. But I think this week, I think Nick Martin could go absolutely massive. And Merritt could as well. But yeah, I think the tags might come for Merritt shortly after that. Anyone else here? So Noah Anderson, good target. He's cheap. He's under 950 now. So I like him, 949. So yeah, 1K under. But yeah, he's a bit cheaper. 104 break even. He's probably bottomed out. So I like him as an option. The Bont, again, if you're really, really good in the round 12 buy in terms of you've got no one, you need someone, you could go early. But I still think that I don't think there might be one or two cases out that might be able to do it. But most of us are not getting him. He's got the buy next week. You might as well wait. He's obviously quite expensive. The hope is for all of us is that Geelong use an O'Connor, or non-owners anyway, because owners obviously want to go well. But non-owners, we're hoping that maybe an O'Connor goes to him in this game. He drops an 80, maybe 85, drops a little bit in money. Then he's got Connor Nash in round 13. Maybe just a little bit more, and then round 14 go bang and bring him in against the Saints or potentially against Richmond. I think we're going to need Bont by round 15 because he could go absolutely massive. His run home is really nice, and Bont is just one of those players we just need in our team. So Bont is someone that I'm really keen to get in. I've got poor team value, so I've got to make sure I can make it work and get upgrades around him. He's almost like the guy that I'm going to go my final upgrade on field that I want to get off at least in round 15 and get Bont. So, yeah, I'm probably looking at that, but a lot of people might be able to get him in earlier if their team value's in a good spot. So I like him. Marshall I like. If you're looking in the ruck this week, but I don't know if many people are looking in the ruck just because everyone traded TDK last week. Maybe people looking at maybe going Gorn down to get some cash, maybe. I'm not sure, but that's obviously a play. Dunkley, good target, round 16 by like. And Bailey Dale, I would... Probably a bit expensive now. Just he's mid-900s again. I'd rather Sinclair at the same price. He's got the bye next week, and I think that teams are going to put some attention to him the way how good he was last week. So, yeah. And I saw Cozzy Pickett there. I wouldn't be looking at Cozzy Pickett. Most trade-out players, probably not really much to go into depth with. Like Horn Francis is out for up to 4 weeks with hamstring injuries. I think he's got to go. He's got that bye there as well. McRae, punctured lung, sucks obviously for him, and he's out for 2 to 3 weeks, which means he'll be out until after St Kilda's round 13 bye. So he's someone else I think has also got to go. and you can bring him and even a Horne-Francis in after. Macrae's not going to get as cheap as a Horne-Francis. His break-even's only 103, so we're still going to have to pay over 900k for a Macrae, but a Jason Horne-Francis has got a 140 or something like that break even, 149 break even. So if he comes back, limited a bit, gets an 80, he's going to drop near 800k or below. We're going to be able to go guys like a Levi Ashcroft or a Ryan Marrick or a Ned Long, guys like that. We're going to be able to side swap them to a Jason Horne-Francis when he comes back from injury. So that's obviously going to help people if they're struggling completing their team. That's going to help them get one step closer. So Horne-Francis is a great target in a month, just over a month when he comes back. But yeah, something to keep an eye on for sure. Put him on the watch list because of the high break even. For those people that don't have one of those two guys, then we start getting to a few of these guys. So as you can see, look at that. Look at that. 4 of the top 5 trade out players are all bullets. Finn Callaghan, who's out for 4 to 6 weeks, I believe, or something like that, with a partially dislocated shoulder. He's got to go. Jaiden Short, if people held on to him, he's got to go because he's out 1 to 2 weeks. In terms of, I'll talk about Bice in a sec because he's the one in the top 5 that's not one of the most, he's one of the most traded out that's not injured. I think in terms of if you've got all 4 or if you've got 3 of the 4, the way I'd rank them in terms of priority, I think Finn Callaghan's number 1. He's the most expensive out of all of them. And he's round 16 bye, but he won't play until after that bye. So he's not going to help you throughout the buys whatsoever, whereas there is a chance that these other guys are back during the buys. He's number 1, and he's the most expensive, which helps. Number 2, I think, is Jack Macrae, because he's got the later bye. He's not going to be back until round 14 at the earliest, whereas I guess there's a world Horne-Francis could be back in round 13. I don't think he will be, but he could, and he's more expensive. You can get a better player for him. So I think Callaghan then Macrae. I think Horne-Francis is then next because he's out for at least 3 weeks. And then I'd go Jaiden Short out last because Jaiden Short's list is 1 to 2 weeks. You're not going to be able, obviously, if you've got 3 of these guys, Jaiden Short is going to be the guy that's most likely to be back next week. So I think you hold Short out of these 4, and it's, as I said, in order, Callaghan, Macrae, Horne-Francis, and Short, and I'll do it in that order. And if you've got like only 3 of them, I'd have it in that same order as well, and you just sort of pick the ones you got. But they're my terms of priority trade-outs. Riley Bice, though, 5.8k. Are jumping off of him. And look at this, over 20k are jumping off Horne-Francis and Macrae. So a lot of coaches got both. But if you've got Bice, if you're in a really good spot and you don't have many other bullets, I think trading a Bice is still a good option. If you are forced, for those coaches that have got a hold like myself, I think there's a little bit of hope because his run for the next 3 weeks is pretty nice. He's got 3 really good matchups for designated kickers, Melbourne, Adelaide and Richmond. Really good matchups there. 2 of them at the MCG as well, and then Crows at the SCG. I think there's a chance he pops a ton or a couple of 80s at least in 2 of those matchups. I know he hasn't been great in these games here. Obviously, the 44 against the Giants, 66 against Essendon, and then 59 against Carlton. But Giants and Carlton are 2 of the hardest matchups for designated kickers there and defenders just in general. So I'm just quickly getting up the on the Merez Magic website, just the guarantee. I'm going to have to log in here. What's the bet while I'm trying to record this? Yeah, of course I'm going to have to. That's annoying. So, but just, yeah, I think if you're in a really good spot, you can trade Bice. Definitely. Obviously, he's done his job, made his cash. He's got a high break even, and he can go. If you can go him, even if to a Kitty Coleman, bank some cash for next week, and then maybe look at targeting a Mills or something when he's back, is definitely something that you can look at doing. I've finally logged in here. Here we go. So I just want to go to stats here. So defenders against, Carlton's number 1, Giants are number 4. But I think Giants have given up a few tons last few weeks. Not as many, but that's just meant that they've gone from being, well, they are the equal second hardest, along with Brisbane, Hawthorn, Giants are all equal second hardest, and Carlton is the hardest. So he's played 2 of the hardest matchups in these last 3 games, and there is only scores below 66. So I think there is a well where he does get back to scoring a little bit better, like maybe we see some more of these 70s, 80s, and maybe some 90s. But again, as I said, if you are in a good spot, I think you can trade. I guess I'm just saying that for all the people that have to hold him. There is a little bit of hope there. Caden Cleary can go as well. Yep, he's done his job. Again, he's got a good run. If he's on your bench and you can do a red dot down instead of Cleary, I'd probably do that just to give you an extra number. He's had a few 80s this year. I think against Melbourne and Richmond particularly, I think that Cleary could actually go well. But again, I think you can trade him out and go him down to Simpson. Really good move. That makes you nearly 200k, right? So really good option there. For those coaches who got Tom De Koning, you'd almost hold if he's back this week. Maybe you go him to Marshall if you couldn't trade last week. And I think that's still a decent move. But you're paying a little bit now for that because Marshall went up 67k last week or something like that. So TDK up to him is going to cost a little bit. If you've still got TDK and you've got Gawn as your other ruck, I don't know if I'd trade De Koning. If you've got Cherry and De Koning, maybe look at doing that to fix up your buys. But at this stage, I think you could almost hold him if he's back this week. Giants is a good matchup for rucks. Caleb Daniel, yep, he can go. He's got Collingwood. A lot of people are going to have to hold, but he's got the bye next week, and he can go. Luke Trainer can go as well. I'm holding for one more week, and then I'm trading next week. I'm definitely getting off because he goes. I think he's got Giants, then Sydney, or the other way around. The Esther matchup this week is pretty good, and Bolter won't be playing this week, so I think that there's a chance that he actually has a decent score. I'd say probably 60 plus here. And he's obviously got subbed out. I think he got subbed out because they are on the 5-day break. They played Sunday, they played Friday. So 5-day break. I think he got subbed out because of that. And because Bolter's going to be out, they were just managing him. But Essendon, Giants and Sydney. I don't really want him for those two. But if you can upgrade him around 11, so after this week, if you've got to hold him, I think that's a good option. I think you can still hold to his buy, right? He's going to be his best 18, right? But if you can trade this week, I think that's a good move. And a trade of him to Kitty Coleman is a good move. And some people in a really good spot could maybe go trainer to Coleman, and Coleman's their D7 with Zach Reed as their D6. So, something to look for if you are in a good spot. We got through the 10 most trade outs. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8. No, Kako's the 10th most trade out player. And he can go as well. I think, again, him to Cooper Simpson is a really good move. You make, 80k roughly, or just under 80k. And I think that's a good move to be making. Kako obviously hasn't. Has he scored over 50? Yeah, he got a 51. Yeah, only one score over 50. He's had a lot of low scores, just not getting involved as much there. So he can go and go to one of those guys. Connor Stone can go. Davidson can go. So a lot of these people are going them down to a Cooper Simpson, which makes a lot of sense, or even a Day Wicks if you've already got a Simpson. Connor O'Sullivan's dropping money now as well, only 25 last week. Him sideways to a Kitty Coleman could also be a play there if you've got him. So a lot of people cashing out rookies. Archer Reed's gone for people. Sam De Koning is still a few coaches there getting rid of him. Corey Warner, Riley Sanders, Finn O'Sullivan. So a lot of people cashing out on some of these cash cows or mid prices before their buy, particularly like a Sanders got the buy next week. So my top 5 targets for the week. My number 1 target, I have currently got, if you're in a good spot, I've got Cooper Simpson as my number 1. Because if you're in a good spot, I'll just get him in because of the lack of rookies. -9 break even. If you have only got one of Horn Frantz and McRae, I think it's a really good move to go get Cooper Simpson. So he's my number 1. My number 2 is Nick Martin. The Richmond matchup this week, defender forward, round 16 buy. I've talked about it before. He's a great option. So he's my number 2. I would then have... Ooh, it's a tricky one. I'd probably then have Kitty Coleman as number 3. So a lot of people, if they can't get a Nick Martin, are probably going... if they're getting Nick Martin, probably got to go get Kitty Coleman. Again, there's a lot of scenarios where Keneen Coleman's a good pick. So you could go like a trainer or a bench rookie to him, and he's your D7 for a week or two leading in the buys. You could go one of Horn Francis or McRae down, and then go the other one up to a Martin, for example. You can go a Bice down, you can go a trainer down. So a lot of people are looking in that direction. I think it's a good option. Round 16 buy is perfect because then you can ride him through his buy. Hopefully makes 100, 150k. Hopefully you can get close to 700k, and then you can potentially look at upgrading him in round 16. But if he's going really well and averaging like 85, then maybe you hold him at D6 for a few more weeks. But yeah, Kenny Coleman, I really like. He's my third favourite target for the week. Jack Sinclair's my number 4 option. I really like him as an option if you're not going for a forward. He's my favourite pick of like a defender or a midfielder. So if you've got some DPP, like my perfect trades this week, if you can go Horn, France and McRae to Nick Martin and Jack Sinclair, bang, lock those away and do those 2 trades. So Sinclair's my number 4. And number 5, I am going to go for... I reckon I'll go Isaac Rankin because I said I'd rather Rankin over Warner. It's one of those 2, Rankin or Warner, as number 5. But I'll go Rankin just because I like him just over him. But if you've already got Rankin, which a lot of people do, Chad Warner's probably my next favourite. So I like those 2 forwards as options for the injured duo. So that'd be my top 5. And if you've already got Cooper Simpson, I think Archie Day-Wicks is also a decent enough rookie downgrade. He plays Friday night, so we'll know if he's obviously firstly selected, but then also if he's the sub or not. So, which I don't think he will be, but you can watch that there. And I don't even mind a Zach Merritt if you want to go a little bit early on him, regardless of the cash loss. I like Dawson as well. The only reason I don't have him top 5 targets is just because he's expensive, but I do like him as an option if you're looking that way. So my trades this week, I did say on Sunday and Monday they were pretty much locked when it was when I knew it was just Horn France, but when it was McRae, obviously I had to adjust. I'm trading out the 2 most trade out players for the 2 most traded in. So I'm going a Horn Francis down to a Kaneen Coleman, chucking one of my 2 mid forwards from midfield into the forward line, putting Shizu into the mids and getting Kaneen Coleman. And then I'm going a Jack McRae up to Nick Martin. That banks me 273k, which is really handy because as someone's got low team value that wants to get these last rookies up during the buys, to get that upgrade cadence going throughout the buys and having a little bit of money in the bank for this week to then distribute like next week and the week after and week after that, I think is really important to getting like the Lindsays and the Ned Longs and Bias and Trainer up during the buys. I think banking a bit of cash this week and then next week getting a Simpson or an Archer Day Wicks or another rookie like a Kyle Lohman maybe who's dropping a bit in cash. Maybe I'll go get those guys next week and make a sideways switch like a Mills. And then we'll go into upgrades. So you guys have probably just seen what I'm potentially thinking about next week. So just a few things. But we know Carnage could hit next week. Maybe rookies get dropped. We don't know. So there's plenty going to bridge. But I guess that's a rough plan of maybe what I'm potentially thinking about next week. So, but yeah, let me know in the comments below, guys, what you guys doing with your trades for this week. And any questions you have, leave them in the comments below. And I'll try and get to some of those questions when I can. But if you do want a guaranteed answer to your question, head over to patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics, where you get all your questions answered there. And you also get each Patreon member gets a team review each week through the Ask Me on Q service, which Patreon members get that for free. Heap of stuff, exclusive Patreon Q&A recording later on tonight. So if you want to join up now and get your question answered, I'll be able to answer those as well. And there'll be other bonus stuff throughout the season, content through there as well. So if you want to do that, click the link in the description or head to patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. Or if you just want to ask a question, don't want to sign up as a Patreon, then head to askmeonq.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. You can ask your questions there, personalised audio response, and you get your full team review there if you would like to do so going through there. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, as always, make sure you smash a like. We haven't had 200 likes for a little bit. So if we can get 200 likes on the video, that's the goal I want to set for this video. So if you are watching there and you haven't ever liked the video yet, then please do. That'd be very, very much appreciated. It does go a long way and helps us out a whole bunch. So if you can smash like on the video, let's try and get 200 on the video. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I think we're 155 subscribers away last time I checked from 4,000. So that's our big goal. We are getting very, very close. If you haven't subscribed and you are new to the channel, please subscribe and get involved. We've got daily content throughout, for the rest of the season. So yeah, make sure you guys do subscribe. I'll be back tonight, obviously, with Tom doing our usual Game Day Squad live stream and preview for the upcoming round. But I'll be back tomorrow for a watch long. Going to be a big, big game. Bulldogs going down the highway to play Geelong against Bailey Smith. So that's going to be a great one. So hope to see a heap of you guys in that watch on there, because that's going to be a really big game. I'm really looking forward to that game. So if you aren't doing anything and want to chill and watch the game with me, then head over to YouTube and we can watch the game together, see the fantasy scores tick over and see how Baz goes there. So be streaming live. I think that the game starts at, is it 7:30 Eastern? It starts, if that's the case, I'll be live maybe 15 minutes early. It starts 7:30, so I'll be live at 7:15 on YouTube Eastern, 5:15 per time. If you guys want to chill and hang out and watch the game together, feel free. They'll be doing another watch along on the Friday, and our pre-lockout chat, as always, at 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. per time. Get your questions answered there as well. We'll be doing, obviously, our live stream, as always, answering a heap of your questions ahead of the upcoming round. So, as always, thanks everyone for tuning in. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. We'll catch you guys tomorrow night for the watch along and then pre-lockout chat on Friday. So, thanks everyone. Catch you then. See ya.